here knows somebody that struggles with special needs, but in more particular, autism? Okay, well, this topic is kind of near and dear to me, but if you'll take a look at my shirt, who's your 1 in 88? What basically 1 in 88 is how many kids are diagnosed with autism, and if according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, studies show now that 1 in 68 kids are now diagnosed with autism. As the diagnosis increase, the awareness also has become more prevalent because there's a need to find a cure. However, growing up, I played football my whole life from 3rd grade all the way up until just now. This is my first year not playing football. I just decided college football wasn't for me. There was this one kid that showed up one day in 3rd grade. I remember we played for the Andover Cyclones. But I played with these kids my whole life, since Pee Wee football all the way up until high school, like I said. He showed up to practice one day, and being little kids, you don't think twice about, hey, this kid struggles from autism or some form of mental retardation. That's, as kids, everyone's innocent, you're all friends with everybody. But this kid showed up one day. He was a manager. Obviously, he couldn't play. His name was Matthew Noah. Some of you guys might know. I know Joel does. He showed up to practice one day, and ever since then, he wanted to be part of the team. And his dad always said that if you want to be part of the team, you have to be part of the team. So he showed up to practice every day. We never thought twice about it because we wanted to let him be a part of what we did to be bigger than ourselves. We wanted him to be allowed to have that experience. As we moved on into high school, we were in the news a few times. I don't know if you guys might have saw it. It's kind of unlikely a little bit. Our football team, the Andover Central Jaguars, is very, very, very big contributors to the Autism Care Walk. Every April, Heartspring puts it on off like 96 and Webb. We always had this big fair. We always got together. We wore football jerseys together. But Matthew was this kid who's very, very upbeat. Never got down on anything. We were always the boys, and he was so excited to always do some practice every day. He came to weights and lifted with us every day. We played NCAA together all the time. I don't get it. He always threw Hail Marys and scored every time, and he never lost. It was crazy. He always came. We always had team parties, team dinners together. We did everything, but Matthew would never score a touchdown. He would never get that big 3rd down sack. But however, he was probably one of the most passionate kids about the game of football than half the players on the team ever were. So today I just wanted to briefly explain to you what autism is, and maybe some of the few prevalent symptoms, and then how we can contribute to help finding a cure. So first off, according to WebMD, autism is a brain disorder that makes it difficult to communicate with other people. Nancy Schutz, who's the author of Desperate for a Cure, states that more children are being diagnosed today because of the broadened criteria that we've discovered over time as technology and medical stuff has advanced. Autism generally is diagnosed and caught between the ages of 2 and 6 because that's when the symptoms start to become more prevalent in the children. And according to Autism Causes, there are 3 general main symptoms that kind of give it away that your child might struggle with autism. And number 1, I just want to make sure I have my facts straight. So impaired social interaction, which means like body language, being aware of other people's feelings and the situation around you. Number 2 is impaired communication skills. So obviously speech impediments, it's kind of hard to understand them. And then number 3, which is probably the biggest sign of autism, is they're very restricted and they have very repetitive routines. Autistic children, they do not like to get rid of their routines. If they mess it up, it really throws them off and it sets them into anxiety attacks. And so now that we've kind of talked about what autism is and a few of the main signs, really what we can do for a cure. As of today, there is no known cure for autism, but however, Nancy Schutz again says that we can treat some of the symptoms that come along with autism to help kids focus better in classes and get along with their day-to-day routines better and help them with anxiety. But as autism as a whole, we cannot do anything about that we have still yet to find the cure. CDC government studies report that on average it costs an additional $40,000 to $60,000 a year to care for an autistic child after medical expenses and miscellaneous expenses. And on average, special treatment alone to get that extra help that child needs is on average $72,000. And so what you can do, since there's no known cure, like we did, participate in care walks, anything to help fundraise for these causes, and donate money to foundations. That's really kind of all that we can do to put our 2 cents in to help, because the research is extremely expensive and there's not really much that we can do other than that. So to conclude, we briefly talked about what autism is and some of the main symptoms, as well as what we can do to help find a cure for the disease. But Matthew was my 1 in 68, and that was as of 2014 1 in 68. Last year it was 1 in 88. So he was your 1 in 68.